A couple of weeks ago, I made a video looking at the best defenders at every age from 16 to 40, and a good while before that, I made the same video for goalkeepers. Subscribers to this channel then will not be surprised to see today's video, which is the next installment of this series, Midfielders, and next up after today will naturally be forwards. I won't bore you with one of my usual rambling introductions, but it occurs to me that whilst I shared it on Twitter, the YouTube community and on Instagram, I never took the chance on a video to tell you all that HITC Sevens recently hit 100 million views. That's a pretty wild number, so I'd like to thank anyone who has ever watched a HITC Sevens video, whether you've been a subscriber since day one and have tuned into all 789 videos, or whether this is your very first time watching the channel today. Viewers, new or old, welcome aboard. Feel free to subscribe if you haven't already, and strap in and get ready for my views on the best midfielder in world football at every age from 16 to 40. 16. Jude Bellingham. 16 is exceptionally young, and this series serves as a reminder of how few 16-year-olds there are playing first-team football. Jude Bellingham is one of them, and he has played regular first-team football in the Championship this season, registering 35 appearances in all competitions. There aren't many 16-year-olds who can say that, and on transfer deadline day of the January window, his club Birmingham City reportedly turned down a bid of £20 million from Manchester United for the teenager. Bellingham is a versatile young midfielder, capable of playing in central midfield or out wide, he's good on the ball, and there are rumours that Birmingham may demand as much as £50 million to let him go. 17. Eduardo Camavinga. There's a bit more competition at the age of 17, where Giovanni Reina and Ryan Gravenberch deserve very honourable mentions, but there is a 17-year-old in France right now who has the potential to go right to the very top. Eduardo Camavinga broke into the Rennes first team last season and became a mainstay in the league and side starting 11 this season, receiving a call-up from France's under-21s and attracting the interest of just about every top club in the Western Hemisphere. A deep-line playmaker, Camavinga already plays with the cool head of a seasoned pro, and Real Madrid are said to be the favourites to secure his signature, reportedly valued by Rennes at £53 million. 18. Hania. From a teenager Real Madrid are reportedly monitoring at 17 to one they've already signed at 18, Hania Jesus Carvalho, better known simply as Hania, joined Los Blancos from Flamengo for €35 million in January 2020. A tall and elegant number 10, Hania has been likened to his compatriot Kaká in some quarters. Hania made 15 appearances for Flamengo in 2019, and he had scored 2 goals in his first 3 games for Real Madrid Castilla in the Segunda Division B before the current season was suspended. So with a very honourable mention to PSV star Mohamed Hitaran, Hania is my choice at 18. 19. Phil Foden. My suspicion is that this will be among the most debated inclusions in this video down in the comments section, but I have made no secret of the fact that I'm a big fan of Phil Foden's since starting this channel in 2017. Like everyone else, I would have liked to have seen more of Foden by this stage, but he has registered 62 appearances as a 19-year-old in arguably the strongest midfield in the world game. Foden plays the game with the confidence about his talents, willing to commit players, and always looking to carry the ball forwards. David Silva's departure gives Foden a real opportunity to become more of a frequent starter under Pep Guardiola. Meanwhile, the postponement of Euro 2020 gives him a huge goal for the end of next season. As I've said many times, I think Foden has the potential to be England's secret weapon, and right now, he is my choice at 19, ahead of the likes of Curtis Jones and Rabbi Matonda among others. 20. Kai Havertz. I should have pointed out in the introduction that the criteria for who is and isn't a midfielder is up for some debate. To me, wide midfielders and number 10s are in, but anyone who tends to play on the right or left of a front 3, like Raheem Sterling or Jadon Sancho, will be in the forwards video next time out. My choice at 20 is Kai Havertz, and anyone who hasn't seen this boy play yet is missing out. His rise has been long anticipated within the German game, and Havertz hasn't disappointed. The youngest scorer in Bayer Leverkusen history and the youngest player to reach both 50 and 100 Bundesliga appearances, Havertz has scored 38 goals in 139 games in total to date. Already capped 7 times by Germany, Havertz can operate in either a central or attacking midfield role. He is industrious, intelligent and superb on the ball. When he leaves Leverkusen, it will be to one of the biggest clubs in the world. Havertz was an easy choice at 20, but only because he is so good, and Italy's Nicolo Zaniolo certainly deserves a mention. 21. Federico Valverde. Federico Valverde's rise at Real Madrid has been a hot topic of discussion within Spanish football, but seems to have gone largely unnoticed outside of Uruguay and Spain. Valverde was already catching attention in Uruguay for his talents at the age of 14, and by 15 he was being monitored by the likes of Real, Barcelona, Arsenal and Chelsea. Real struck first, getting their hands on Valverde for just £4 million, and that looks like shrewd business now. The 21-year-old was a regular for Real Castilla in his first season in Spain, earning a loan move to Deportivo La Coruña in his second, and he spent the last 2 seasons in the Real first team. A gifted yet strong and tireless runner in midfield, Valverde likes to operate from deep, and he's already won 20 caps for Uruguay. 22. Frenkie de Jong. From one side of the El Clasico rivalry to the other, Spanish viewers will be well aware of the frequent bickering between Real Madrid and Barcelona fans with regards to who is the better of their youthful midfielders. Personally, I love watching Frenkie de Jong in action, forever finding half a yard of space and so rarely surrendering possession. The 22-year-old Dutchman honed his skills at Ajax, and Barcelona will hope that he can perfect them at the Camp Nou, or whatever it may be called from next season on. De Jong hasn't had a barnstorming debut campaign in Catalonia, but he's far too good not to become a Barcelona legend over the next 10 years. 23. Arthur. There are a quintet of Premier League players who deserve honourable mentions at the age of 23, namely Leicester City trio James Maddison, Wilfred Ndidi and Yuri Tielemans, Manchester City star Rodri, and Wolves' Portuguese playmaker Ruben Neves. There's also Borussia Dortmund wideman Julian Brandt, who's soon to turn 24, but ultimately I've ended up sticking in Catalonia with Arthur Melo. A classic number 8, Arthur is a hard-working midfield technician and a fine passer of the ball. Capped 20 times by Brazil, which is no small feat at the age of 23, Arthur has played 67 games for Barcelona in a season and a half at the Camp Nou. Although Arthur and de Jong were signed from Ajax and Gremio, both players appear to be ingrained with a certain Barca DNA, and they are viewed as Xavi and Iniesta's heirs in the Barcelona midfield. 24. Fabian. Given the abundance of candidates at the ages of 23 and 25, the age of 24 is a bit of a black sheep in this video. There were 3 leading candidates, namely Napoli midfielder Fabian Ruiz, Tottenham's Dele Alli, and the world-class playmaker Alfie Potshamer, who has been out of contract since 2013 and now makes YouTube videos. Were it not for the injuries, Potshamer would be the clear winner, and whilst I'm a fan of Dele Alli's and still harbour hopes that he could return to his best, right now, I cannot overlook Fabian. Unlike Ali, Fabian never really exploded onto the scene, but he was signed by Napoli in 2018, following an impressive season with Real Betis. The 24-year-old's progress in Naples has been impressive, and he's now among the most accomplished playmakers in the Italian game. Tall, industrious, and equally capable in a defensive or attacking midfield role, Fabian is an excellent passer of the ball on his stronger left foot. 25. Bernardo Silva. There are 3 standout candidates at the age of 25, including Lazio's Sergej Milinkovic-Savic and 2 brilliant Portuguese midfielders, Bruno Fernandes and Bernardo Silva. Manchester United fans won't thank me, since Fernandes is currently being hailed as the second coming of Christ in the red side of Manchester, and I think he has been more impressive this season than Bernardo, but I don't think that he is a better footballer, and I think and hope most Portuguese subscribers would agree. Both are sensational, combining energy, great mentality, and heaps of talent. Bernardo Silva is so talented and gifted on the ball that he could get away with being a mere flair or luxury player. Yet he consistently ranks among the hardest working players in the Premier League in terms of both distance covered and sprints per game. Capable of playing out wide or through the middle, Bernardo was among the best players on earth in the 2018-19 season, and he takes this one ahead of Fernandes and Sergej Milinkovic-Savic for me. 26. Fabinho. It's a battle between 2 Liverpool players at 26, with Fabinho and Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain being my 2 favourites. Both have their merits, but I think Fabinho has the potential to be Liverpool's most important midfielder, and it's a shame for him that he picked up an injury just when he looked to be becoming a mainstay in Jurgen Klopp's starting 11. Formerly of Monaco and Real Madrid, Fabinho is the most robust and athletic of Liverpool's midfield options. Excellent at breaking up play and winning the ball, Fabinho is also quick in transition and still looks to be improving as a player all the time, so he's my choice at 26. 27. Paul Pogba. Another inclusion which is bound to prompt some debate in the comments, there is no lack of talented midfielders at the age of 27. Marco Verratti, Marcelo Brozovic and Hakim Ziyech are all excellent footballers who will be more than worthy of inclusion in a list of this ilk, but I believe Paul Pogba is more talented than all 3. Clearly Pogba's stock and question marks over his status as a world-class player will only rise until he starts to get regular game time and perform once again, whether that is at Manchester United or elsewhere. Ultimately though, when he's at the races, Pogba is a sensationally talented and well-rounded player combining power, remarkable technique and a terrific range of passing. 28. Kevin De Bruyne. The best midfielder in the world, in my humble opinion, Kevin De Bruyne is a no-brainer at the age of 28. Atletico Madrid star Koke would feature at multiple different ages, but up against De Bruyne, any other midfielder is fighting for a silver medal. Among the most gifted and intelligent footballers in my lifetime at least, De Bruyne is probably the second best passer and the single best crosser of ball in world football right now. De Bruyne's varied talents mean he can beat players with power or skill, he can strike the ball from range, or, and most commonly, he can put the ball on a plate for one of his teammates. He's a special player, and his inclusion was never in any doubt. 29. THIAGO ALCANTARA. Aged 29 was one of the trickier decisions in this video, choosing primarily between N'Golo Kante and THIAGO ALCANTARA, with an honourable mention going to Ilkay Gundogan. Kante, it could be argued, can be more effective in the right system than THIAGO, but I don't think there can be too many debates about who is the better player. One of the finest playmakers on earth right now, THIAGO's touch and technique are flawless, his vision is almost on par with De Bruyne's, and he can thread the ball through the eye of a needle. Pep Guardiola pulled off a masterstroke taking THIAGO with him to Bavaria, and Barcelona's loss was very much Bayern Munich's game. 30. Marco Reus. I would go as far as saying that age 30 presented the toughest dilemma in this entire video, and the players causing me one or two headaches were Marco Reus, Miralem Pjanic, Toni Kroos and Thomas Muller. You could argue that both Reus and Muller ought to be considered for the forwards videos, but that's another debate altogether, and once I designated them as midfielders rather than forwards, my decision became a lot trickier. I genuinely think you can make a strong case for all four, but I think Reus is just about the most talented, so in the end, I edged towards him. A Borussia Dortmund legend, it's quite frightening to think just how good Marco Reus could have been without any injuries. Formerly a winger, but now typically deployed as a number 10, Reus is by no means the obvious choice, but on the toss of a coin, he takes it from me. 31. Sergio Busquets. It was an altogether much easier decision at the age of 31, with Sergio Busquets head and shoulders above anyone else. The only player in this video who made my list of the 100 greatest footballers of all time, Busquets is the finest pivot of his generation. Subscribers will have heard me wax lyrical about Busquets for a long time, and I might even bore you all to death with a video solely about him at some stage. 32. Ivan Rakitic. Barcelona, quite incredibly, have 4 players in this video, and the fourth of them is Ivan Rakitic. The Croatian international joined Barcelona in 2015, a season before Xavi left the club, and he subsequently plugged that gap and formed an excellent partnership alongside Andres Iniesta. A smart and hard-working playmaker, Rakitic was one appearance away from reaching his 300th game for Barcelona when the current football season was suspended. 33. DIMITRI Payet. It's a battle between two diametrically opposing styles of French midfielders at the age of 33, with Blaise Matuidi and Dimitri Payet being the outstanding candidates as far as I'm concerned. Matuidi may be the obvious choice, and the history books will tell you that the Juventus man has achieved more, but I'm plumping for Payet. Diminutive, stocky and explosive, at full throttle, Payet is simply unplayable. We saw that during his only full season in the Premier League when he took the division by storm, and Payet was back to his best with Marseille before the current season was suspended. 34. Luka Modric. It's a difficult one at 34, primarily between David Silva and Luka Modric, with Fernandinho most assuredly worthy of serious consideration. Modric and Silva share a number of characteristics, both traditional number 10s, who transitioned into tireless and technical midfield marvels. Meanwhile, Fernandinho is among the best defensive midfielders of his generation and still seems to be getting better every season. As I did when deciding between the best players at every weight, which Modric and Silva just so happen to share, I have edged towards Modric, but it's far from an easy decision. 35. Santi Cazorla. Andres Iniesta may be the obvious choice at the age of 35, and as good as Santi Cazorla has been, certainly at the peak of their powers, there was no comparison between the two. Right now though, in 2020, and both aged 35, I have to go with Cazorla. Whilst Iniesta has spent the last 2 years in Japan and no longer represents Spain, Cazorla has recovered from an injury which doctors feared may leave him unable to walk, becoming one of the best midfielders in La Liga and earning himself a recall to the national team. I've no doubt Iniesta could still cut it at the highest level, but he isn't doing right now and Cazorla is, so the Villarreal star is my choice at 35. 36. GABI. Again, Yaya Toure's 36, and if I was going on players' talents of yesteryear, he would be a shoo-in. Given that this list is based on current credentials though, and Toure has rarely played since 2017 and only recently won promotion from China's second tier, my choice is another Spanish veteran in the form of Gabi. The former Atletico Madrid star left Spain for Qatar in 2018 and he now stars for Al Sadd under the watchful eye of former La Liga rival Xavi. 37. ATIBA Hutchinson. An honourable mention may go to Michael Essien at 37, but in truth, the Ghanaian has been suffering an injury-enforced regression for more than a decade now, and he now plays in the Azerbaijan Premier League. My choice at 37 is Besiktas's iron-lunged midfield anchor ATIBA Hutchinson, who has been playing his football in Europe and has been a full Canadian international for the last 17 years. Hutchinson remains a regular fixture at Besiktas, as he has been since 2013, and that's no small feat for a man rapidly closing in on 2 decades in professional football. 38. JOAQUIN. Age 38 was, oddly enough, one of the toughest decisions in this video, with little to split River Plate stalwart Leonardo Poncio and Real Betis legend JOAQUIN in my book. Poncio is a tough tackling midfielder formerly of Argentina and Zaragoza, and he still brings real stamina and bite to the River midfield. JOAQUIN is a seemingly timeless wide man who will turn 39 this summer, yet he recently agreed yet another contract extension at Real Betis. Many of you will be old enough to remember watching JOAQUIN in action for Spain at the 2002 World Cup 18 years ago, and that gives you some idea of his remarkable longevity. Incredibly, JOAQUIN is still a pretty pacey right winger, also capable of playing in attack midfield, and he remains one of Betis' star men. In December, JOAQUIN scored a hat-trick for his boyhood club, becoming the oldest player to ever score a La Liga hat-trick at 38, beating a record previously held by Alfredo Di Stefano, who had been 37 in 1964. 39. Emre Bellezoğlu. Emre Bellezoğlu will forever be remembered as a detestable but very talented footballer, and he is still competing in Turkey's Super League now at the age of 39. Formerly of Inter Milan, Newcastle United and Atletico Madrid, Bellezoğlu is currently in his 3rd spell with Fenerbahce, having rejoined the Yellow Canaries from Istanbul Başakşehir in 2019. Now primarily a deep-lying playmaker, Bellezoğlu is a very gifted and intelligent technician who can distribute the ball with class and ease, although getting through 90 minutes of a fast and ferocious match is now a struggle for him. Incredibly, he's still a regular at international and club level, and he reached 100 caps for Turkey in 2019. 40. Juan Ignacio Murcia. If you take a look at this series as a whole, one thing that becomes clear is that the best active footballers in their very late 30s and at 40 appear to play in South America, with a particular concentration in Argentina. The same is true of midfielders, where Juan Ignacio Murcia becomes the final inclusion in this video. Many viewers will never have heard of Murcia, given that he never played in Europe, but he has long been a star in Argentina. Capped thrice by the national team in 2010 under Diego Maradona, Murcia's most notable spells have come with Argentinos Juniors and San Lorenzo. Once a robust, combative, attack-minded midfielder, Murcia now operates in a holding role, using all of his experience and understanding of the game to compensate for his lack of pace. Aged 40, Murcia plays for San Martin Tucumán, who were top of Argentina's Primera Nacional Group B when the current season was put on hold. That's it for today's video. Thank you for watching. Feel free to give the video a like if you enjoyed it, in fact please do, and make sure you're subscribed to HITC Sevens, and head over to www.englandsgreatestdefender.com to have your mind blown by the best football book ever written.